For centuries, historians have insisted that ancient civilizations worked with crude tools, simple math, and limited imagination. And yet, buried in private archives, sealed in institutional vaults, and scattered across forgotten excavation reports are fragments of something far more sophisticated: blueprints. Actual engineering diagrams etched into stone, pressed into clay, scorched onto copper plates, representing structures and machines that should not exist in the ancient world. They show measurements to the millimeter, geometries that require advanced calculus, load-bearing calculations we only mastered in the last few centuries. Someone, long before us, understood engineering at a level we can barely comprehend. These blueprints shouldn't exist. We were never meant to see them. And when researchers tried to publish their findings, their work was quietly sidelined, labeled misinterpretation, or simply disappeared. Tonight, we're breaking the silence. This is the story of the ancient engineers whose fingerprints can still be found if you know where to look. And once you see what they built, you'll never look at human history the same way again. In this documentary, we're stepping into a world that exists beneath the official timeline, one woven from suppressed artifacts, anomalous discoveries, and the silent testimony of forgotten builders. You are about to see engineering diagrams that challenge everything mainstream history teaches. Detailed cutaway models of impossible temples, load calculations for stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons, and architectural plans that match real structures found thousands of miles apart. We'll explore who created them, why they vanished, and why, right now, they're starting to resurface. By the end of this video, you will have seen enough evidence to question whether our civilization is truly the first or merely the latest. Every civilization leaves behind ruins, but only a few leave behind instructions. Real engineering blueprints are rare even in the medieval world, let alone the ancient one. So when archaeologists began discovering carved diagrams, scale models, and pattern templates in places as distant as Egypt, Turkey, Peru, and Pakistan, they didn't know what to make of them. Most didn't fit the accepted narrative. They were too advanced, too precise, too deliberate. Some even depicted techniques like modular stone casting, electromagnetism, and harmonic resonance, ideas that shouldn't appear until the industrial age. But quietly, a small number of independent researchers began piecing them together. And what they found was stunning: the remnants of a unified engineering tradition, once global, now fractured into myths and mysteries. It suggested that a master culture existed, one capable of teaching precision engineering long before recorded history began. Our journey begins with the first cracks in the official story. The official narrative claims that ancient builders used trial and error, thousands of laborers, and simple hand tools to construct their monuments. But this explanation collapses the moment you examine the level of mathematical precision embedded in these structures. Take the so-called decorative patterns found carved deeply into the walls of certain ancient sites. When analyzed, they are not decorations at all. They're scale diagrams, geometric encoding systems, and proportional grids used by modern engineers. Many showcase ratios far beyond basic arithmetic: golden spirals, square roots, harmonic intervals, and architectural constants. Yet textbooks still insist these civilizations lacked the necessary math. Even more troubling, several diagrams uncovered in the last century were immediately locked away, deemed too ambiguous for public interpretation. But ambiguity isn't the issue. Context is. The same diagrams, when compared across continents, match perfectly. Identical grid systems appear everywhere from Mesoamerican temples to Indian stepwells to Anatolian stone circles. How could unrelated cultures, separated by oceans and thousands of years, produce the same engineering language? The official story has no answer. And that silence is where our investigation begins. Archaeology is filled with anomalies, objects that don't fit the timeline, artifacts that defy explanation, but blueprints are the most disruptive of all. In several excavation reports, researchers described thin stone tablets etched with cutaway diagrams of chambers, tunnels, and mechanical assemblies. One site contained a stone slab divided into perfect engineering views: top-down, cross-section, and elevation. formats identical to modern technical drafting. Other discoveries include measuring templates carved into basalt, exact curvature stencils, and modular construction guides that imply prefabrication on a scale we still struggle to reproduce. Even more astonishing are the materials themselves. Some plates show laser-straight engraving, difficult to achieve even with modern tools. Others bear micro-abrasion marks consistent with high-frequency cutting or vibration drilling, technologies we associate with 20th century industry. These anomalies aren't isolated. They're part of a growing pattern, evidence of a civilization capable of mass production, precision engineering, and advanced construction long before history says such capabilities existed. And every anomaly we uncover points to one conclusion. Whoever designed these structures was not experimenting. They were following established blueprints.
Even if ancient societies had the knowledge, how could their limited populations possibly execute such massive projects? That's where the logistics paradox appears. Many ancient construction sites required millions of man-hours, yet archaeological surveys reveal settlements too small to support such labor forces. Some monumental structures were built in astonishingly short time spans, leaving no room for trial and error experimentation. And the level of coordination required, quarrying, transport, precision alignment, implies the existence of a centralized engineering authority, not scattered local builders. How did they synchronize efforts across regions with no written communication? How did they lift stones weighing hundreds of tons with populations of only a few thousand? The numbers simply don't add up. Unless there was a forgotten system, an established blueprint regime, streamlining construction on a scale we've never imagined. Some of the most revealing artifacts never made it into museums. Whistleblowers have described entire storerooms filled with anomalous diagrams, copper plates depicting magnetic levitation concepts, clay tablets showing gear mechanisms centuries before gears officially existed, and architectural grids that predate the structures they correspond to by millennia. Institutions often dismiss them as ritual objects, a convenient label that avoids deeper questions. Even university archives contain early 20th century excavation documents referencing diagrammatic tablets that were later recategorized and quietly removed from public catalogs. Why hide them? Because genuine blueprints force a reevaluation of our timeline. They imply the presence of teachers, engineers operating at a level equal to or exceeding our own. And acknowledging that changes the entire foundation of human history. The blueprint phenomenon is global. Across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, identical measurement systems appear, base 10 grids, astronomical alignments, and repeating structural ratios. Even more curious are the matching errors, misprints in the stone themselves, suggesting these were copies of an older master source, a forgotten engineering language once spread across continents. Consider this. Ancient sites often share identical construction tolerances despite using different materials. Whether it's granite blocks in Peru or limestone pillars in Turkey, the margin of error is practically the same, within fractions of a millimeter. That consistency hints at a single origin point, a shared architectural legacy. This wasn't random cultural evolution. It was a blueprint tradition, taught, preserved, and finally lost. Here's the twist. Those ancient blueprints don't just resemble modern engineering, they match it. And not loosely, precisely. Several diagrams uncovered in the last 50 years contain formulas that correspond directly to modern structural engineering principles: load distribution charts, shear force diagrams, resonance calculations. These aren't approximations, they're identical. Either ancient engineers independently discovered the same advanced equations we use today, or they preserved knowledge from an even earlier, more advanced civilization. And recent digital reconstructions reveal something even more stunning. Many ancient buildings were designed as components of larger systems, networks of energy flow, water pressure, acoustic resonance, and astronomical calibration. They weren't isolated monuments. They were interconnected machines built according to a unified design philosophy. The blueprints weren't instructions for temples. They were schematics for a world-spanning infrastructure created by someone with a master plan, a civilization whose memory has been erased, but whose diagrams survived buried beneath our feet. We are standing at the edge of a forgotten chapter of human history, one written not in myth, but in math. The rediscovered blueprints show us that someone, long before us, understood architecture, physics, and engineering at a level we are only beginning to decode. Their legacy isn't in stories or legends. It's in geometry, precision, and impossible craftsmanship. If these diagrams are real, and all evidence suggests they are, then our entire understanding of civilization's origins must be rewritten. If you want more deep investigations into the mysteries of lost civilizations, hidden technology, and the evidence we were never meant to see, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Comment below, do you think these blueprints belonged to an advanced, forgotten civilization or something even older? Your thoughts help shape our next documentary. Stay curious, stay critical, and never stop questioning the official story.